Hello, folks. Welcome back to the stream. A dominant Game 1 win from FlyQuest Challengers as we are moving into our Rally Cry halftime show, folks.
He got it.
It's the first time I've actually hosted one of these. I got to say, I'm going to have kind of fun being the game master with you two as the contestants. It should be a good time. But before we get too far into this,
It's the only time we call him master.
Just throw the tweet up. Get this over with. I believe that we have a tweet that we're going to fly. Is it ready? All right. Yeah. All right.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's because I'm goofy.
Yeah.
I hate it here. Anyway, it's something that will be more fun. Hopefully for all of us coming up. Game show, guys. I gotta say, this is an invention of Kangas, but I will say I don't feel too guilty yoinking it because guess who came up with the name for this originally last spring? It was me. All right, Pixel Perfect, baby.
Oh,
you guys know the drill.
You?
It was me. Yeah. All right. You know the drill, guys. Pixel Perfect. We got 16 bits, 8 bits, 1 bits, and of course, for anyone just joining us not familiar, we like to take some tightened up screenshots, have these guys guess what part of the game it was, then wind it out, see if they get the points or not. 1 bits or 3 points, 8 bits or 2 points, 16 bits or 1 points. Let's see. Who's going to start between you two? You guys got to figure that out. You're in the same room together. All right. Oh my God, this synergy. Mark, first second.
1 bit.
1 bit? All right. First 1 bit coming right on up for you. What do we got?
No.
What part of the game?
Okay, this is Yuji because it's the energy resource bar. He's the only one on. He got stunned. He's getting stunned by.
I figure out where that is.
What is?
It's a 1 bit. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It is a toughie.
I think this is when FlyQuest tried to force the fight in the mid lane in the river. Like Philip comes in from the right side and they look for Spawn, but Spawn flashes over the wall and then the fight gets turned right on its head and Dignitas win the fight.
Ooh, I gotta say.
Bruh.
Not right. All right, Josh,
Dang.
what do we got?
That was
It's
also
close.
my guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's also what I was thinking this was going to be. Because that is definitely a Lee Sin. Definitely looking like an Annie stun.
So,
You can't give us hints. That's cheating.
yeah.
I think this is in the mid lane, though. Is this when... No. Is this when the Rift Herald crashes bot lane?
There's one projectile that you guys are missing that would really give this away.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah.
we can't tell what it is.
All right. Well, I guess no one gets the points.
Yeah. No points here for the first one.
All right, here we go. So, you weren't necessarily wrong about the Spawn flash, but there were 2 points when Spawn did flash.
Oh.
So, 1, it was like,
I mean, this is
later in the
technically
game?
the same fight. It's just later in the fight.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'll give you the points then, Rafa. That's fine. So
Yeah.
there were 2 points where Spawn flash and Dig won a fight. You weren't
Yeah,
specific enough
okay.
for me. But since you meant this one, I'm gonna go honor code, and I'm a generous host here. You know, I don't want the points myself.
This is the fight I
give
thought
them
it was
out.
as well, which is
Yeah.
why I was like, if it's not that, then I have no idea. what it is.
Okay, so we are back. 1 bit, Rafa, you have 3 points. Josh, you have none.
All right. Well, let's go with the other
Yes.
1 bit.
You have
We're
the
not
other 1 bit.
cowards here.
Okay. I mean, I am the coward, so you know.
And his name is Howard.
What is that?
This is the 1 bit.
Wait, that's harder than the
This is the 1 bit.
Oh.
No, it's not.
Oh, this is the awful build from Hoon with the Riftmaker and the Void Staff.
Yes, that would be it. Okay, I know you guys talked about the build a lot. You know, burning through a Scion, not easy, but it does take away a lot of the pen and the upfront damage from Rumble. You brought it up. I figured it'd be a fun screenshot to throw in. Also, I only had 5, so this is the 6-1. I'm
There
glad
you
you
go,
caught
there
it.
you go.
It was a pretty easy 1 bit.
Yeah,
Anyway,
as soon as I figured out, it's like, this is not champions on my screen, it's like, oh, I got it,
Yeah.
I got it.
I've got to say, I'm going to give away all the points here probably. So I'm a generous
That's
host,
all right.
all right?
Generous
I'm being
host,
a generous
generous
host. Yes, all right.
Jenner's husband.
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to go there. But anyway, Rafa, you're up next. Who do we got? 8-bit? Okay.
8-bit, please.
8-bit.
Husband, person. Oh, what in the heck?
There's a level in there. It gives it away.
Yeah, it's 5. Okay, is this when they're diving bot lane and then Diamond says, "Okay, I've got no other choice. I'm just gonna flash root Masu
Nope.
under tower."
Nope.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Josh,
Nah,
you
this
want
is
to steal?
when Winsome flashes forward and gets the route onto Spawn as Diamond's running away. He flashes in. It's the 3v3.
Oh, yeah. That's Winston's
That would be a dub.
big body.
That's where we're
Damn
at.
it.
So the Spell Shield, I don't know if Diamond was out of mana or if it just came out a tad late for the route. They did trade out Winsome, but of course Yuji turned this play around. That was where FlyQuest turned around that bot lane that Dignitas got originally. So that was a big one. Josh, you got 2 points. You stole them from Rafa, and also you get to guess next. So would you like the other 8-bit?
Of course I do. Of course.
That's what I thought. All right, here we go.
Huh? Oh, this is when Winsome flashes on Spawn again, and Yuji kicks him back into the rest of the team in the mid lane. Yeah?
Ooh, okay, so I will give you got the Yuji part right. So you get a wow. But yes, this is actually the Yuji flash and then the kick back in. Yeah, all right. Well played.
Yeah.
All
Winsome gets the route down and kicks him back into the rest of the team.
All right. Well, I've gotten beaten out by Joshi. That's good stuff. Well played, Joshi. But Rafa, you have some time for redemption. 16-bit. We're cruising right along here. I'm just gonna fire this one up for you, Rafa, because you don't really have a choice anymore.
Yeah.
Zoomed.
I mean, even if I were to get these next 2, I lose.
But you know what? It's for mental.
pride.
You know, it's for mental.
It is for mental.
About turning things around.
What in the hell? Wait, this one's XU's level 7. Why does this look like upside down?
Well, it's not.
I know it's not. I know it's not. But
I mean, do you want me to turn it upside down?
No.
Yes.
No, just the particle effects. Dude, this is tough.
I think it was missed, but it was a pretty sweet play from Winsome. I don't know if you guys caught this, but you were close, Rafa, with one of your other guesses about what this was.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go for a guess. Right.
I'm assuming this was when So the way the play started off, they just deleted Spawn, and so XU was here, trying to make the play, and then this is when Yuji wraps around and then kicks XU back. It leads up to the bot dive. That's all I remember.
It does. All right, we'll give it to you because it leads up to the bot dive. So you know, you get a wow. But this was pretty sweet from Winsome. He actually guessed the Wukong clone when it was coming out. So it was a pretty nasty dredge line. Just thought we'd highlight that. Last one, Joshi.
Huh?
This actually was kind of hard for 16-bit. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Okay.
I feel like
well,
it's
level
not supposed to be a zoomed in.
Level 12. XU coming in. What is this? Is this when XU tries to go for... No, he doesn't really go for a steal at all this game. I actually don't know, Mark. You want to try and take it?
Level 13, level 12. I mean, they're in the river somewhere. I just, don't know what is... Oh, was this, the crazy fight where everyone's, Yuji and Philip over here, but then Masu and Spyrex are over here, and then everyone starts collapsing in on each other.
Well, guys, it looks like there's 1 point to myself. As we might have
16-bit.
I know we might have thrown you off a little bit. It's my first time hosting, so but anyway, it's actually the clone.
Oh,
and then they chased down the clone, and you called out they killed both Wukongs, so that was kind of the joke there.
Also, we broke the meta. Steve always does them in order. Matt didn't. He thought ahead.
Yeah, true.
What do you mean? Game pace?
Yeah.
Yeah,
always the 1-bits are always the last things that happen in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I actually didn't recognize that from the meta. It could be a huge advantage for me when I play this game again. Josh just giving me all the tips. I appreciate that. Anyway, guys, that's it for Pixel Perfect. I know that we are coming up on draft rather shortly, but before I just want to get some closing thoughts before we hop in the draft, unless we are ready to go. But any impressions, any big takeaways that you guys had from that last game before we go into game 2?
FlyQuest good. FlyQuest good.
That it? Just FlyQuest good?
Dignitas is hoping for game 1 lose is comfort.
That's true. Dignitas, the game 2 buffs have been real. I gotta say, Yuji, wow, hell of a game from him. as I think Yuji was actually a big difference maker in that one. But folks,
sure.
don't want to keep you guys any longer. I got to go prep a next halftime bit or maybe an interview. Who knows? Depends on the result of Game 2 as FlyQuest. They take Game 1, and we'll see what happens in Game 2 here as we're about to hop in the draft.
Eject! Eject, Cubby!
Oh, that's not what I thought. That's the caster start the game button.
Oh. No, it's okay.
We're getting in.
We don't actually have control of that, Josh.
What? Maybe you don't. That's a color caster privilege.
Oh.
Right there. We always know exactly when the game is going to be starting. We're always trying to delay it as long as possible because we just love listening to ourselves talk. Now Dignitas coming through. They are still on the blue side of the map, and it is going to be interesting to see what kind of adaptations Dignitas have had. I believe these are the same 2 bans that they went for last game, and so far the same draft, except the Varus is the first thing to change. And it is worth noting that in their series of draws that Dignitas have had in the last couple of weeks, almost all of them have been Game 1 losses. Just because they come in, they're a little bit shaky, and they don't necessarily have the game plan online. They're still waking up. Maybe Insanity's had too much coffee right before the games. But as we start coming in, this has been one of the most powerful picks in the last couple of weeks on 13.5. Everybody's been playing this, and it feels like they're willing to play it in almost every role.
Yeah, and I know we haven't seen Senna Cho'Gath yet in Challengers, but it has been played internationally, and I would not be surprised if this was the time with how early Cho'Gath is being picked into the game.
It's possible. We haven't seen a ton of Spawn Senna, but it is something that has been on the table. It is something that you can realistically play almost everywhere. It's not been pioneered in the jungle a whole lot at this point, but it is still something that you do have to be thinking about. And Yuji going right on back to Lee Sin, taking away from XU. We saw the response from the monkey from XU last game, but it was okay, right? It wasn't doing a whole lot of really big engages because Dignitas challengers were oftentimes a little bit more disjointed, and FlyQuest, they're going to be taking away the Annie once again. That's a very strong mid-jungle 2v2 coming out from UG Spyrax.
Yeah, I mean, not only you have insane mobility from your jungler to link up at any point in the game, but then you also have the guaranteed point-and-click stun setup from Annie, or you have the AoE flash stun for the massive engages later on. But this is a comfort pick for Spawn. We're going back to the Aphelios. You know, they prioritized that Caitlyn lane for priority, but they saw that, well, if we can't necessarily win the early lane as hard as we like because of FlyQuest's efforts to shut us down, why not we just play for the scaling portion of the game?
True, and with the Thresh really coming back into the meta with a lot of supports really going towards this, it actually makes Nautilus a better pick. Once again, Winsome going for that to try and lock down Thresh. Every time he goes for a death sentence, it's a very easy hook coming out from Winsome if Diamond is not using a Fog of War or the minions to kind of block for them. But now, beginning the second half of the draft, we are noticing that don't want to be giving Insanity the same kind of counter pick. He was one of the original Viger players when we started seeing this come out last year in the first place. And so it is going to be a spot here where, having already shown where the Annie and the Nautilus are going, there's not a whole lot of big surprises here. Insanity knows exactly what he's playing it.
And what does Dignitas want to round this composition with? Because right now, there's no strong forms of engages. You have a lot of great follow-up engages with Rupture, Death Sentence. I mean, you can always look for picks, right? But when it comes to starting off a fight, Dignitas, normally something like a Wukong with a Cyclone would be great, but I wonder, because they have saved Wukong, or just XU's jungle pick for the second half of the draft, it might be something different.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of options available. We trying to get some clues from FlyQuest because they are unconvinced that this Cho'Gath is already selected a place that is going to be going. We have seen Hoon play, we've seen Insanity dabble with these kind of champions over and over again. And I think the big thing as we kind of look at this is we need to make sure that Dignitas have a little bit more magic damage, right? They were 2 magic damage stacked last game, but Cho'Gath does a lot of ambient magic damage is the way I like to describe it, but it's not very focused, right? He does just have that one chomp onto targets, and here there's enough crowd control to eventually prevent the Cho'Gath from actually doing anything in these upcoming fights. And as they start rounding out with the Jinx, I mean, this is a massive front-to-back team fight. It kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be another reset champion getting played on the top side.
And I was already thinking, like, with someone like Jinx, you just want guaranteed point-and-click lockdown. I thought that, you know, an old school pick would be something like the Jarvan, because you just lock them in the Cataclysm, would work great against the Annie as well. But it looks like the change of pace, Vi into the Aurelion Soul combo, Dignitas shifting their priorities from early game to massive scaling in this second game.
Huge scaling, right? And that is going to be one of the big things. Aurelion Soul was a counterpick to Annie on 13-4. but it has taken a lot of big nerfs coming into 13.5. It doesn't do the same kind of damage. The scaling is a little bit harder to actually make happen. And so, seeing this come through, Insanity has not been performing to the level that we have been growing accustomed to for such a strong mid laner. And Spyrax, now that they have the Annie here, we'll see if they can actually put this Aurelion Soul behind. Philip gets the Fiora up in the top side. It has been a counter pick consistently and is also one of the few things that actively beats Cho'Gath at most points of the game.
And it's Philip's most plays of the entire regular season as well. So this champion, while it's not like his Jason Aatrox over his career, this is a champion that he's put in so much time in. And I would say in the past couple of weeks, he's had really, really remarkable games. The last series that they just came off of the back of their win going up into Dignitas was because of not only Yuji's performance on the Gragas, but it was also a massive game from Philip's Fiora.
Yeah. So, looking at this game a little bit more holistically, even with the scaling of the Jinx and the scaling of the Fiora, this is absolutely FlyQuest Challengers on a bit of a timer before Insanity becomes too big to deal with. Also, Hoon can also become too big to deal with at some point.
Literally.
FlyQuest, yeah, they are really going to be playing for that second item power spike that Jinx oftentimes gets. You go for a Kraken Slayer into Infinity Edge. You're doing the most damage then that you're going to be doing this entire game because Hoon will not have all the defensive stats, all the extra health necessary, and they're really focused on bursting out a single target. And it's going to be really a little bit tough for FlyQuest to make that happen, but I have a lot of faith in how these guys are going, and watch for this hook. What was that?
You know what? I think Winsome was trying to predict if someone was waiting in the bush. That's the cope answer.
My cope answer is that he accidentally clicked the mini-map, but that would have gone towards the top left, probably, so...
Potentially.
I mean... Yeah. Whatever.
Minions have spawned.
It's game 2, y'all!
It's game 2. Wow, the players aren't that tired yet. Anyway, getting into this one a little bit more is going to be seeing a little bit of vision come through and an unusual ward actually put down in the top side of the map. It is going to be on those Krugs. You see a couple pings towards it, and interestingly enough, Philip looking to come down and harass XU. He knows he's starting on this buff all alone. Vi's level 1 is unimpressive.
It sucks. I mean, like, because as Vi, you always want to start your W because it gives you the maximum amount of clear speed on single target, large HP targets. So Hoon is forced to join the river and force Philip away so that XU can actually start his jungle. But because he knows now that there has to be a ward on the blue buff, otherwise Philip wouldn't have gone in the first place, he has to start on Wolves, and that is going to delay his clear, which gives Yuji even more time to act first on the map.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that in playing such a low health lane from both of these top laners, it is definitely a spot where the junglers can have a much bigger impact if they do choose to come up. But Yuji not on his way over. XU being forced to use the sweeper as well to kind of figure out if Yuji is going for an invade. One of the big things to note is as we are on 13.5, the Grasp of the Undying change has come through. It gives you less healing and more max HP. It's more valuable for Hoon, provided he never dies in the lane. It also makes Fiora's lane a little bit tougher because you really relied on those Grasp healing procs in order to keep yourself topped off. Philip, by getting this early advantage, by starting to push Hoon back right off the bat, actually can kind of override some of the issues that Fiora is starting to experience in the top lane.
And you can see where Yuji's head is at right now. He knows that Winsome and Masu push heavily up trying to get this crash in. He's roaming and looking for just coverage in case he wants to look for a dive in the mid lane or looking for the bot lane. Masu and Winsome should be protected, but XU is just lurking around the corner in case they were thinking about a dive themselves. But Yuji, could they go for a mid lane dive right here? Maybe. Point and click stun from Spyrax. Connect Sonic Wave.
Yeah.
Might have enough damage.
It's possible, but they got to get this underneath the turret, and Spyrax has to do it with auto attacks alone. Does Yuji actually go for this? He does.
Insanity. Oh, it connects. Do they have enough damage? Yes, they do. And Yuji will be forced to flash so he doesn't die to the tower, but that's a clean first blood and dive from FlyQuest.
And we were asking, how are they going to be stopping the Aurelion Soul? That's a great start as Philip taking a couple of turret shots of his own, but it's definitely a spot where if you could stop Aurelion Soul from stacking, it becomes so much more difficult to pilot this champion. Diamond finds another hook.
Will they get anything off of it? It just seems like trading. I do want to talk about how awesome it is from Spyrex to actually open with W instead of Q, because the Q, the projectile, would have been so long that Insanity could have flashed and tried to delay the dive, but the W comes out instantly, gives little reaction time for Insanity, and it allows Yuji to land all of his damage.
I'm surprised you weren't talking about how cool the fact that Yuji didn't take the second Q immediately, used the W, but XU looking for a counter dive here in the bottom lane. Yuji already on his way.
Can they make this dive happen? Winsome and Masu still have both sums, and Yuji's in the area. I would be advising against this, but Dignitas, they don't know if Yuji's here. They're just hovering to make sure that they can get plates. The hook lands, heal is burned by Masu, and XU immediately has the turn tail. Spawn almost gets enough damage down, but he takes too many turret shots in the back half. FlyQuest are able to turn that one around. Now Yuji, he doesn't have flash available. He has a ward, he dashes over the wall, and he gets out alive. Diamond doesn't want to follow, as he would not have enough damage to take down Yuji.
Massive tragedy, but Philip looking for a solo kill up here on the top side as well. Not going to find that one. Hoon already level 5, but Spawn taking too many turret shots. They tried to find a play to answer what happened in the mid lane, and it is FlyQuest turning it around once again. I mean, Cubby always talks about how if you're the team that's scaling, you need to find your opportunities to go aggressive, but apparently they don't find it correctly this time around. It is a very tough spot now for Dignitas because they were relying on that lane, actually having some success to be strong, to be the source of damage for the team later in the game. Feels as though FlyQuest yet again are doing everything they kind of need to on the map.
Yeah, so far, snowball advantage, nicely done for FlyQuest. About a solid 1.5 thousand gold lead for them, just under that margin. But we are heading into the part of the game where the first dragon has spawned. Neither team has really shown an inkling towards that side of the map. XU, not going to look for the dive.
Not going to find that there. Yuji once again in the right spot on the map to potentially deal with any attacks from XU as Winsome. Look at that patience coming through from both supports, not throwing out any abilities, knowing how dangerous that can actually be. But as we already talked about, right, Masu, the land lizard coming through, has definitely been a big player for this team, being so aggressive early on in the split, still looking for these big opportunities to try and take these 1v2s, these opportunities to step forward, has already found themselves this first assist. And now, I mean, the big question is going to be, with no flash, is he going to be a real target for Dignitas? They've tried to poke and prod, they don't find anything there, and now as the Dragon's getting starting up from FlyQuest, XU's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, they've already built a priority for Spyrex in the mid lane. Bottom lane has the first move as well. Hoon, I mean, he's looking at Philip juicily, but Feast is not available, so I don't think there's any real threat for him, but FlyQuest should be able to secure the first dragon in the game, and it's a lot earlier than when they had gone for the first dragon in last game, so this means they will still have options when the Rift Herald comes up in the next couple of months.
Looking a little bit more like something Fear would do, right? They always start the dragon sometime between 5:30 and 6:30 is usually their modus operandi. And now, FlyQuest, they are in a position where they do have to be kind of careful with the fact that Hoon does have a bit more priority. He does force Philip into a bit of an awkward back, so he has the opportunity to start moving down. But it is Yuji once again going for a proactive play, and XU, he's coming down, but does he know that the play is going, or does he just want his Krugs?
Looks like he's aiming towards shadowing this bottom lane as they get the push down. Diamond is looking for the play forward. He has a Dark Passage, but he cannot get XU in line because he had to use the Dark Passage just as a shield, and he still goes down to the play. FlyQuest continues spiraling ahead.
Yeah, this is really big coming out for FlyQuest, right? Reading Diamond like a book there. Yuji is ready to go. And the former team captain, once again, from the FlyQuest Academy days, is getting bopped by all of his students. FlyQuest, they're doing such a good job on the map. Now 3-0, so much of that money going over to Yuji. He was a massive player in Game 1, and now already setting up to be the dominant force in Game 2. The one thing I'd love to see him do at this point, got to continue making sure that Insanity is not stacking. Well, he had a tough game on Annie. Now he might find a kill.
Oh, he predicted the flash, but do they have enough damage? The skies descend, and there it is. XU to follow up on the damage. Damn, Diamond, that was sick.
That was really good. Giving over a kill here to Insanity, allowing him to start stacking even more easily. Dignitas looking for an opportunity to push up and potentially even go for this Rift Herald at the same time. Spyrex has a teleport, so it's not for free. Also, he's on his way too.
Roaming over to the Rift Herald. They've used a lot of tools for that. XU still has his ultimate available, but has Philip already used Riposte? XU's not going to chance it as he saw UG lurking around that tri-bush. Right now, Diamond looking to sync up for one more. The flash forward, both. Oh, but the Death Sentence doesn't connect this time. But I think UG still has nowhere to go, so it's okay. Super Mega Death Rocket pelts them a little bit with some damage, but Dignitas still have control of the Rift Herald.
Yeah, FlyQuest being a little bit too greedy, thinking they can fight this with fewer members, but Dignitas, they are ahead of the play. UG gets too close, shut down. And now they are going to be the ones picking up the Rift Herald for themselves, but FlyQuest trying to cut out Insanity, making sure he cannot farm any of these minions in the mid lane. FlyQuest aren't done.
Philip and Winsome and Spyrex are looming on over, but Hoon can also cheat on over to the Rift Herald as well. They're stalling it as much as they can. Wait. XU doesn't have the Empowered Smite, so he needs it to be below 600 for the threshold. There's no feast from Hoon either. They're just finding this one out. UG is almost here. He has Smite available. 849 on the Rift Herald. Hoon is there. The FlyQuest, they bully them out, and they take away everything.
And nobody dies. Everybody's still alive after all of that. But FlyQuest, they buy enough time for UG to get back. They get the Rift Herald. And even though the gold lead has shrunk considerably, FlyQuest are definitely in a spot where the fact that they can out-bully Dignitas is not something that FlyQuest was doing previously. They were always about the kills, whether it means that they lived or died. But now FlyQuest playing a much more patient style. Again, a lot of growth from this young team. But we go back. This is the sick hook predict coming out from Diamond, looking for the flash, and dang, great stuff coming through. It does lock them down, and I always am surprised when the Aurelion Soul ult only does a little bit of damage. Like, it looks so cool when he goes.
We're not to the
Not yet.
upgraded ultimate yet, and I think actually the normal one is just Falling Star, whereas the Skies Descend is the big one with the shockwave.
Yeah.
You get that on 75 stacks.
Yeah, do you ever see the stick figure spotlight with Jin?
No, I don't.
I think it's Jin. And anyways, like he and Caitlyn are like shooting at each other, then Aurelion Soul's like laughing. It's like, oh, ha, ha. The giant star hits, and they're like, oh, no damage. Kind of like that. Still the same kind of thing, but ultimately, as we kind of get back into the game, it is still a spot where, because Spawn had so much time down in the bottom lane alone with Masu. Masu's the kind of guy who would oftentimes go for those duels up against other AD carries, but on the Jinx doesn't have the same kind of tools on the Xayah Rakan that he's played so much so far this season.
Yeah. 20 seconds away from this next dragon. FlyQuest. The way that they have been just commanding the game, even though they're not necessarily super far ahead in gold, it just feels the way that their intentions are playing always get executed and carried out, whereas Dignitas, they're finding these moments, but they cannot close and capitalize on the things that matter most when it comes to taking control of the game back.
Yeah, and look at that. Insanity now has the Skies Descend coming through. A whole lot more damage and a way bigger AoE to play with as they're now trying to find their way back in, but FlyQuest are controlling this Pixel Brush, making it very difficult, and Spawn's not with them.
Yeah, Spawn cannot get into the fight for now. He has to walk all the way around the Dragon Pit on the left side. Dignitas are now in position. Spyrax looking forward, and they're going to turn right onto Spyrax. Moonlight Vigil connects onto multiple members. Skies Descend does major
the reset
damage, but the reset from Moxu, he's getting excited. UG cleans up the kills, and now Diamond and Spawn are forced back. A Death Sentence goes wide as the rest of FlyQuest still don't drop a single member.
Wow, great stuff coming through from FlyQuest yet again. They're going to be starting up the Dragon with only UG here, and so far, Dignitas, I mean, despite the big ultimate from Insanity looking really good, there's just not enough damage on the squad just quite yet to make this fight actually worth anything. So FlyQuest continue to stack up more dragons, more neutral objectives for themselves, and they continue to build a new gold lead. And even though they have a couple of awkward bags, XU, hold on.
Last cone over the wall. Oh, 2,000 HP, 1,100. Oh, but UG secures the neutral objective. XU does not have cease and desist, so I don't think he actually gets a chance to lock down UG. And XU, I know he would love to take out UG and get something back, but he knows it's best to not pursue in the jungle.
Yeah, that's a frustrating one too. Just coming in, recognizing, hey, FlyQuest haven't done the dragon yet. Do you think it's just UG? And I mean, they have the vision on it. They try and go for the steal, but despite how often XU seems to win these 50-50s, UG winning another one. at this point. That is going to be Dignitas.
You know what's actually funny? I was doing a stats game show with, I think it was Beatdown and Deserux the other day, and I actually found out that this split, Yuji was leading neutral objective stolen. I know it's normally like XU is like a...
Well, XU, the reason why we were praising him last year is not just that he was stealing a lot, but he was also defending a lot of steals, right?
Yeah. So like
Masu.
career-wise, it's very XU favored. Now Masu, as you called out, gonna get locked down by the cease and desist, but Winsome is here to body block or at least buy some time. And I don't think the damage is gonna be enough because now they're outranging them. Diamond cannot get in close proximity as Winsome body blocking for his AD carry game after game after game ever since he has stepped back into this roster.
Yeah, and great patience from Masu, saving the flash until he could flash into that cloud of minions, making sure that there's nothing the Hook can actually do. It doesn't matter if Diamond flashes after, because there are things in the way. But up here on the top side, I like this build from Hoon a lot better than I did in the previous game, right? The Heartsteel, super poggers item. It feels so good to get that super grasp of the Undying every single time it goes off, but also gets the buffed Chain Vest. Bramble Vest, that's the one.
Bramble.
Coming through in order to make sure that Philip's issues with sustain are going to be compounded because he's not healing off the grasp, not healing off of the vitals nearly as much. And so, as the first turret goes down here for Dignitas, despite the fact that the kills are not going in their favor, it feels like they have a better chance. It doesn't feel like they are far enough behind for FlyQuest to just win some of these fights outright. They still have to be very smart. They still have to play to get Masu's resets.
And it all starts with that burst chain. One target, you pick one, and then the rest of this fight should be yours to win for FlyQuest. We don't have another neutral objective spawning anytime soon. 2.5 minutes on this Dragon. Rift Herald should be spawning in about a minute's time based on that indicator. But
Yep.
FlyQuest, with the control that they are getting in mid lane, they should be able to easily move into the Rifter afterwards.
Yeah, and as long as they are controlling some of these ramps, it should be a pretty good fight for them. But one of the things that is difficult about the Infernal map is it's so easy to move between the ramps when you are trying to retake any of these objectives. And now, Spyrex are going to try and defend the turret. Not going to get there in time, but at least will catch the wave. Dignitas, they find 2 turrets currently to FlyQuest 0. That makes up for a lot of the gold that they're missing out on kills.
Yeah, they're not far behind, as you already called it out. Rift Herald has spawned. Rest of Dignitas are going to opt in while they have a chance to. And to be honest, like, FlyQuest are nowhere near this. I mean, if they want to fight for this, they are going to be very late. It's too late.
Yeah, Masu does have the ultimate if he wants to try and go for some steal. They do have some vision and kind of close, but not in time. And Dignitas are going to be looking for an opportunity to try and push everything out. FlyQuest's ability to control the map is definitely not as strong this game as Dignitas are taking more control, and it just feels like Spawn is playing with more confidence this game.
I think the trade that FlyQuest do get is that they get aggressive.
Hook.
Huge hook and huge damage from Dignitas. The Moonlight Vigil combined with XU Cease and Desist says goodbye to Masu, and another hook from Diamond on repeat. They catch out the 2 carries from FlyQuest. Great punish from Dig.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest keep going for these counter punches onto what Dignitas are doing, but that's not the way the composition works. Dignitas, by setting the pace, are putting FlyQuest in situations over and over where FlyQuest are reacting. And while that was the way FlyQuest played earlier on this split, that's not how you can play against the number 2 seed in the league. Dignitas are firing back with the strength that they already have across the map. It feels as though Insanity is going to become inevitable this game. He's got so much damage. There's not the range on FlyQuest to actually get to him, and they are going to really have to focus on trying to be the first ones to make these plays happen.
And while we definitely praise Dignitas in that moment for capitalizing, that felt so weird from FlyQuest. They've been so patient and so calculated on where they rotate around the map, and then they just kind of lazily came into that point and then choke point in the mid lane. Now Hoon still has a turret to retreat to, so he's not in any danger. But that lost a lot of pressure from FlyQuest because they set up all this aggressive vision in the bottom side jungle. They don't even get to capitalize it because they had to come off death resets.
Yeah, and now Philip, I mean, he's taking a lot of damage. His mana is fairly low, and as we're setting up for another Dragon, Spyrex.
Okay, but they have 1 bit ward on the Raptor camp. But great Dark Passage from Diamond saves Insanity. He can't participate in the fight for longer. He still has the Stars Falls, but XU gets taken out before the rest of Dignitas can react. Hoon teleports into the fray, and he's taking him as much damage as he can for Spawn. Diamond forced a flash from the hook on Winstone's back end, and FlyQuest still managing to punish Dignitas when they need to most.
And that's what we needed from FlyQuest, right? We said that they needed to be the ones to go aggressive first. They catch out Insanity, it translates into a kill onto XU, and now Dignitas, I mean, they can still play very patient. They don't need to be looking for a lot of these plays. They can choose to play around the next dragon, but trying to find things earlier on does put them in a bit more of a risky situation. Another feast stack goes over to Hoon after that, but that's going to be a third dragon picked up by FlyQuest. Unless something crazy happens, and Zanny's kind of sticking around. There's no way, right?
No way. Oh, XU?
Not again.
Gonna try it 1900, 1700 over the wall. XU, 1400. XU steals it from Yuji's hands. And this time, Insanity gets the shutdown to join in. Nice punish from Dig.
That's the second time that FlyQuest have made that exact mistake, taking a guaranteed objective and 50-50ing it. They win the first one, they lose the second time, and Dignitas, I mean, that slows down a ton of FlyQuest momentum. They really needed that Infernal Dragon to go their way. They needed Flaming Dragon in order to make this work out. But now the Flaming Dragon is on Dignitas' side.
I mean, Insanity is already kind of the Flaming Dragon.
He is Flaming Dragon.
Yeah. And so they're just leaning into it more. But the big pressure point, as you're alluding to, is that would have been Infernal Soul on that next dragon, which would have forced Dig, whether they wanted to or not, to throw everything on the line in that one fight. But now Dignitas have bought them an extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy. And 5 minutes is everything in these kind of games. Remember when we were saying that FlyQuest really need to play around that 2-item wake-up from Masu? The fact that it still hasn't happened yet at 20 minutes is, it's not late, but it's really starting to ask the question of, is Insanity going to be too strong? He's already on 2 items, and this guy who we were kind of criticizing last game and has been having a bit of a tougher time is now looking to find another kill.
Season's assist onto Winsome. Death Sentence follows up. Winsome's got nowhere to run. Great pick set up for Dignitas. Baron is up on the table, but I don't know if they can start it up, but they now have guaranteed control of this river.
I mean, they have such a strong smite power coming out from Hoon, and over the wall. Mark doing a little dance over here as FlyQuest. They have to respond to this Baron buff now.
Yeah, they're going to force FlyQuest to fight them on their terms. Sky's Descent is available. They do have a ward over the wall, but they can't see it because it's blocked out by the control ward. Oh, they try to go for it, but Yuji's too late. He ward hops over the wall. The Super Mega Death Rocket briefly gave vision, but it is a clean secure from XU and Dignitas.
And FlyQuest, they get a couple of turrets off of it, so they get some gold. They neutralize some of that power, but again, FlyQuest trying to find a lot of these plays on the map after things have already happened, and Dignitas absolutely happy to play around all of that. Now, this buys even more time. Spawn's already on the 2-item power spike, whereas Masu's still has not come in. After cleaning up this wave, I think he has enough, but he might not even be able to get it.
Masu has flash and heal available, but Jesus Desist doesn't care or matter. Spawn Gale forcing forward. Masu knows there's no point in burning any of those summoner spells. He is dead right. Another clean pick from Dignitas.
That game 2 power spike from Dignitas coming right on back, and suddenly, I mean, Diamond, who we were asking whether or not he could play against his proteges. Philip, are you okay?
Philip is no longer okay. He thought he had Yuji assisting him, but Yuji realizing that the rest of Dignitas had the cavalry and the reinforcements arriving. XU trying to cut off Philip, and now Philip's got nowhere to go. One more smack to the face. What is happening to FlyQuest?
They're trying to do things too late. I mean, I honestly think Annie's a bit of a bait of a pick at this point, but it still is a spot where Dignitas, they are looking so much better, trying to make plays proactively, whereas FlyQuest are reacting to them. I don't think they have the same rate. I think they are okay the later this game goes, but XU, uh-oh. That's a flash.
XU realizing his sins. Should not have taken that blast cone over the wall. There's too many unfamiliar and unfriendly faces waiting on the other side.
So FlyQuest, now that they are pushed up against the wall, it is going to be about how they can play around these upcoming dragons. It is a strong lead for Dignitas. Insanity's rapidly approaching an impossible spot, but they're looking for Spawn.
But nice Dark Passage from Diamond. Put Philip on the flank, but Spawn is still alive, and he's got blast cones to work with to distance himself. He cannot contribute any damage to the fight, but he finds Masu over the wall, and Masu has to pick and choose in finding Hoon, but he links up with everyone else. Masu's been taken out to sub 300 HP, but he's still alive.
No way.
And he's going to participate on the reset. resets and he can still contribute. The rest of Dignitas could not find the back line, as now Spawn is routed by the rest of FlyQuest. Instead, he finds Masu and he blows up one. He's going to look to blow up two. Spyrex gets away, looks for the stun. The stun is not going to be enough damage. Winsome locks him down, and Dignitas lose everyone. Massive ace for FlyQuest.
Insanity's gonna still be dead. Spawn's gonna be dead when they actually start playing for this dragon. That Baron buff completely nullified. I can't wait to see the replay. I want to show you the path that Masu took through this fight. He starts up here, right? He starts in the mid lane. Watch, he's going to go all the way down, past the wolves, past the blue buff, because he gets jumped on, has to find his way out of this after taking a ton of damage. And as he flashes out, he tries to find his way down. He's so much of his team's damage, and he's like, uh-oh, Spawn's over there. That's a big monster. Can I walk there? I'm going to walk past Hoon, who feasts him, but doesn't get the Heartsteel proc off to actually kill him. And even though he doesn't do a whole lot of damage this fight, the fact that an AD carry is permitted to do that because of the way the rest of FlyQuest fought is huge. Now we go back to the Dragon.
Dignitas. This isn't sole point, so Dignitas don't have to throw everything into the basket and into the frying pan to make this work against FlyQuest, but they would like to see if they can find an advantageous fight while they're all grouped up here. Massive stun for Spyrex, massive knockup from Winsome, it lands everything, and it's
the resets.
Star. It's
the resets.
The resets are coming in. Masu is cleaning through all of them, ripping them apart. FlyQuest take down 4.
FlyQuest coming up big. That crazy fight that just happened, buying them so much time. And they're not interested in getting a dragon. They're interested in going for potentially the end of the game. They're trying to open up the base. And they're not even sending anybody to pick it up as insurance. Okay, Yuji's finally now going over. That should be an inhibitor going down. And Sandy, the only person left standing. And can he stop this constant encroachment from FlyQuest? XQ's up in 5 seconds. That's going to be a turret going down for sure.
Nice little adjustment for the play, FlyQuest, Yuji. Now enlisting the help of Masu to burn down.
Thank God. Burn me once. Shame on me. Shame on you. Shame on... Yeah, anyway, we go back into the fight. The big thing here, right, because Insanity is coming to this so late, he's not going to be able to have the same kind of impact. He's not going to be able to set up. He doesn't get his black hole into the same kind of position, but instantly turning off the dragon, Masu takes a little bit to come on over towards the rest of the fight, and by getting this rocket onto everybody, any person who dies suddenly is going to be a reset. Because the fight happens on top of Philip's healing station, there's nothing. There's no way for Insanity to do anything. He doesn't have the big ultimate. He doesn't have the positioning. We said he was going to be late to the dragon. He barely shows up at all.
It looked like a bounce house from this angle, too.
True.
Yeah. FlyQuest.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Boing, boing.
I was going to say how that's like Cubby's room, but anyway, FlyQuest.
No, it's not. That's the problem. But FlyQuest, as you were saying, they have been in a spot where they're playing a number of different styles, whereas Dignitas, they've been so focused on their early game as a team, they're still trying to adjust to the fact that Tomo has come in, and it is a spot now where in the late game, they have to start relying on their more veteran players. It really is about the damage that Insanity can do. But Dignitas, even this game, their battle lines have been really confused in ways that we haven't typically attributed to this team. And FlyQuest, as they move all together, they don't have Philip with them, but Philip is creating a ton of pressure.
I mean, he can probably open up the turret.
Open the gates.
Easily. Gates are going to be opened here. Hoon can cut him off momentarily. You have a giant flaming dragon on their side as well. Philip might have given his life for the cause. The flash. I don't know if that flash was going to do anything, but you know what? I respect the attempt. Nice feast from Hoon as well. Takes him down. And the immediate teleport from Insanity for Pryo, also from Hoon. They want to force this fight while they have the numbers advantage.
Yeah, this is a spot where FlyQuest need to be very careful. XU, Vault Breaker is stopped. FlyQuest could actually barrel down the mid lane and potentially trade this dragon or the Baron for 2 inhibitors. Instead, they're choosing to stick around, acting to try and take the fight. Philip's not up for 20 seconds. This is a 4v5.
They don't necessarily have vision in there yet. Control Ward laying down the hook onto Winsome. He's locked down. Another numbers advantage even bolstered up further. Philip is coming off, cooldown in 10 seconds. Has unleashed teleport, but FlyQuest are going to seemingly trade this Baron as for the inhibitor pressure you were talking about.
Yeah, but they're not even going to get the inhibitors, right, with the Baron recalls coming through. Dignitas, they get everything.
Spyrex?
And, oh, Spyrex. I feel like Core JJ, APA? Spyrex? There's nothing there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm not sure why he was still there. The rest of his team had left.
Yeah, Dignitas, now they move forward. Getting that extra kill onto Spyrex gives them the confidence they need to start using the Baron immediately. They know that they need to really push this advantage because they have to fight around the Hectic Soul coming up very soon. They want to try and open up the base. They want to try and get an inhibitor, so it forces FlyQuest to at least deal with some of that pressure.
This is tough position for FlyQuest. Spawn with the green gun setup can at least get auto attack onto this turret safely without being in range.
Whoa!
Philip is going to just trade an inhibitor right now, and recalls are coming in, but FlyQuest they can stop the ports right now. Philip, can he actually go for the base? And I think he just wants to go for the inhibitor at the least. I don't think he can pressure, right? Unless FlyQuest can stop every
Philip, you got to leave, buddy.
No. It's not happening. The observers were so excited, like, yes, split cam, but no base race to be had. Philip gets his one inhibitor, and he's out of there.
But that's crazy. The fact that they prevent Dignitas from taking the top lane inhibitor and they open up the mid lane one, that's really big here for FlyQuest. It gives them a little bit more pressure to play with, but more than anything, it denies the pressure from Dignitas and FlyQuest. We've said that they've had a little bit of scaling problems in this game. If they get this Infernal Soul, that'll make up for a lot of some of the scaling issues that they have currently been looking at. So FlyQuest, it's really about this next fight. If they lose it, it's probably too much damage from Insanity for the rest of the game, and he's got the big one.
Yep. The Skies Descend could be the game breaker here for Dignitas. Whereas FlyQuest, if they secure this dragon, that's their soul. It's a massive damage boon that allows them to keep up even with the scaling advantage that Dignitas has from the Aphelios and Aurelion Soul.
So FlyQuest, they're moving around. They have already been cut out of this objective. It looks like they're trying to do something a little bit cheeky, and who's doing a fantastic job? He knows he just needs to stand in front. Sadnar comes through. Look at Yuji. He's going for a pretty crazy flank, knows that there's no minions, both junglers.
He hasn't been spawning yet, and as long as Dignitas are not able to start the fight soon, XU is also looking for a crazy flank of his own. He looks for Masu, and they're going to try to pair it up. The Skies Descend, but he flashes away in time. The Shockwave is the only thing that hits him. Meanwhile, Yuji's attacking the backline, but Spawn has flashed over the wall safely, so he's distanced himself away from Yuji, and he can't get through the kick. Sonic Wave lands. Yuji will assassinate the backline, but Masu's going to get assassinated himself by XU. Junglers going after each other. Team's marksmen. The assassinations are complete, but FlyQuest are down members, whereas Dignitas only lost 2.
Wow, what a fight coming through yet again. Philip on the far side of this fight, but the dragon is going to get picked up by Dignitas. Insanity once again doing a ton of damage in all of these fights. It's honestly kind of crazy. Both teams just left their AD carry to die, and that's the life of a marksman, man. Sorry, Dimitri, you're going to have to do that a couple more times. The pros are doing it. It's going to happen to you too.
Damn. It's a tough world.
He knows what's up.
But at least he still puts out banger tweets, even if he's dead. Yeah.
From the grave.
From the grave.
But Dignitas, I mean, this is the Game 2 buff that we were looking at from before, Mark. This is exactly what we were saying. They have lost so many of their Game 1s going into these 1-1 series during the regular season. Now going up against FlyQuest, they are poised to take this next one. But it is another situation where we have seen Dignitas be so confused in their fights.
Illegal positioning. Philip going for the turret here, and X
illegal.
Okay, Riposte blocks that one, but he still has cease and desist. He's going to lock him down right into the falling star. Skies Descend, all the damage from Insanity. Huge pickup. Philip is gone for the next 50 seconds.
Yeah, gotta be super careful, right? Philip has tried to go for a couple of these, but is torn in the indecision of whether or not he's supposed to be hitting the objective or if he's supposed to be trying to live. This time he goes down, and look at that. Hoon, 7,000 HP, 9 feast stacks already. This guy is so big, so much of a problem right now. Masu doesn't have that third item completed to tear through him. It's going to be all about Spawn. It's Insanity. If Yuji and Spyrex can't kill one of these crucial damage dealers, there's no way they can win the fight.
And FlyQuest are taking it safe. They don't want to force a fight while Philip is still down for the next 14 seconds here, but that does cede control of their mid inhibitor. Both mid inhibitors have been taken on either side, but now the advantage comes through when Dignitas can look for the top inhibitor. It's going to be super minions coming through 2 lanes versus 1. FlyQuest just watching as their base crumbles because they know they can't do anything else.
And the Teamfight is getting harder and harder for FlyQuest as well, right? Philip on this VR, not a great team fighting champion from this position. Yuji, despite having 7 kills to his name, still in the Lee Sin. He's got some cool tricks he can do, but they're still just tricks. You have to catch your opponent unaware. Now as the Dwagon diff is starting to come through, Insanity, I don't know how much I can say about about that movie, but it has been a good dive. He's been looking really good. Who's Simple Jack, actually?
Not sure.
Figure that out later.
Yeah.
But now it's Dignitas. They are moving forward. They have everybody in full force, and FlyQuest, both their solo laners.
Look at the collapse. XU.
Illegal.
FireX has nowhere else to run. He doesn't have the flash, and he's right next to the wall. He gets a massive stun, throws out all the damage that he can. He's gonna go golden with the Zonias, but he is still gone. And there's 2 minutes left until the next dragon, but Baron has spawned. And will Dignitas try and use that Baron bait pressure while they're pushing as a group through the bottom lane?
I'm just saying, if Dignitas let FlyQuest start up the Baron, I think Dignitas just win the game outright. Insanity.
Wait, does he just almost take out Philip? Philip hasn't used Riposte yet, but man, that's a lot of damage already gone. Insanity is thinking about using this guy's, but because the Riposte hasn't been used yet, he could just cancel out that damage. Philip is going to get a recall off. The inhibitor tower is gone, and oh my god.
Wait, what is... Huh?
I guess XU was walking over to the Baron just in case they were doing it.
Dude, he needs some Raising Canes too.
Yeah, true. You never can miss out and scarf down those.
Yeah. Spyrex, when he comes up, will not have the ultimate right away. It is going to be all about Dignitas pushing up this game. Spyrex, I mean, getting caught out a little bit. Philip getting caught up in the top lane has killed all of the momentum that FlyQuest were playing with. And now as they start to move up, remember, Insanity with these guys, Descend has a ton of extra damage. And oh, that's the trick. It's gone.
Diamond knew that Yuji was going to look for a fancy ward hop kick flash play on the spawn, but he reads them like the book. The skies descend, send the heavens raining down.
They got Masu
right onto FlyQuest's parade. And Philip is doing everything but just can't do a damn thing against the giant space Dwagon from Insanity. Dignitas bounce back with the game 2 buff, and that means we're going to game 3.
And this time, it was so much about the skirmishes yet again. Dignitas fight back, and well, they all went in favor of FlyQuest in game 1. Dignitas, they were just coming every single time, and we gotta look back at the Dwagons.
Dwagon diff. I mean,
FlyQuest, you gotta take them.
Yeah.
You can't just let Yuji do them for 20 seconds on his own. XU got there. Imagine what happens if he steals the first one too. You gotta pick up the objectives.
Yeah, it could have been much more disastrous. I mean, there's definitely a lot of moments in that game where FlyQuest, they were ahead, and we didn't expect them to be that far ahead, but then just random blips where I guess, I don't know, it was a loss in judgment or just error in judgment on where they could rotate in. And Dignitas, especially when their backs against the wall like that, they are not going to give you any breathing room. If they see a mistake, you gotta expect they're gonna punish it right away.
Imagine what happens in that game, because FlyQuest did get another dragon. If that had been the soul, the game is drastically different. It's just a very simple mistake that we were used to FlyQuest making the first half of the split, but not since Winsome joined. Dignitas bouncing back and starting to look a little bit more like they were in the first half of the split, which was the really good version of this team. And when both teams are firing on all cylinders, I can't wait to see how they play game 3.
I mean, you saw how the end was. It was a banger, and hopefully we get just the same firepower equally on both sides as we head into game 3 after this break.